a game, let's say you're building a game and you get your menus built out and you have a character running around, maybe doing one or two things, a couple of mechanics, and then you realize, oh, I don't actually know what I'm building. This isn't really a game. First off, I recognize that can be very disheartening, and I want to express empathy and say, I get it. Second off, I also want to say, if you're at that point, congratulations, because that means you are recognizing that you have some taste in what makes a good game. And instead of just making something and falling in love with it and saying, everyone's gonna love this because I love it so much, look how gorgeous it is, look at the pictures of my baby, look at the 18-page fold out in my wallet. You're recognizing, oh, this isn't very good. And that's a very crucial skill as a designer. So congratulations, you're on the right track. Second off, creativity is something that can be trained, and it is something that everybody is born with. Absolutely everyone is born with differing levels of creativity. And for a lot of us, it gets nurtured, and for a lot of us, it does not get nurtured. There's a great talk by David Kelly, I believe, one of the founders of IDEO. What's his name? IDEO founder. What's his name? Yeah, David Kelly. It is David Kelly. Yeah. By the way, look at this man. Hold on. Look at this man. Look at that. Does that not look like the kooky, wild inventor that lives in that house that nobody ever goes to in his garage with like lightning shooting out of it every now and again? That's the guy. Okay, so this guy said everyone is creative and everyone loves drawing until they're about like 6 years old. And then they realize, oh, shoot, you love drawing too, sweetie? Yeah, I love drawing too. And then they realize, oh, shoot, little Becky over and on the next row over in class draws better than I do. I guess I can't draw. And then you're not creative anymore. And that lasts for like ever until you decide, I'm going to change this. I can draw? Yeah? On my iPad I can draw? Am I good at drawing? Well, thank you. There you go. See, there's the encouragement from the 3.5-year-old themselves. From the mouth of babes come the biggest of truths, right? That dude is who I want to be. I love it. Becky. It's always Becky, isn't it? Becky or Jessica. So, the thing I want to drill in more than anything else is that your creativity is a muscle and it can be exercised. And there are structured exercises we can actually do to improve that muscle. This is a thing that we have kind of figured out to a certain degree. We haven't necessarily figured out creativity in and of itself, but we have figured out pretty good ways to stimulate and provide environments where creativity can be fostered. It even goes back all the way to the early Greeks with their eudaimonia machines. Ooh, we could talk about eudaimonia machines a lot too. That'd be fun. Level Up Design, good morning, buddy. How was your weekend? It was frabjous. Thank you so much for asking, Level Up Design. So good to see you in here. I haven't been able to catch very many of your streams recently, and I apologize about that. I haven't had very much time recently. So everything's been going into this game jam prep, but I hope everything is going well and that your level design exploits are just doing great. I loved that YouTube video you produced the other day. That was awesome. Other day, probably other week at this point. Oof. Yeah. Okay. So, one of the biggest principles for me about creativity, actually, before we jump into that, let me just say, everything I'm going to talk about here today is what I have learned for me. And you are going to be very different, right? For the people that are on YouTube saying, I have struggles coming up with ideas, your brain probably works very different from mine because ideas are like the last thing I have problems coming up with. So, if what I'm talking about here today, you try, or you look at and you say, I don't know, that doesn't really sound for me, that's reasonable. That's okay. The important thing is not necessarily the specific steps that I go through, but pay attention to what is happening in the background. Pay attention to, how I have figured out what works for my brain and how I've learned to chase after it, because that's what it's going to take. It may be harder for you. It should be a little bit different based on the individual. But if you can find what your brain likes and you can give that to it, you will be off to the races. There will be nothing that can stop you. So, for me, the biggest part of creativity, we're going to do a big reveal here. Constraints. Constraints are the number one most important thing for me in any design process. If the world is my oyster and I have a blank sheet of paper, I will never make anything. I just can't. I need constraints. This is something that I saw, gosh, probably decades ago in a talk given by one of the programmers on Spore. That dude said that they didn't want to give tons of freedom for the character creator. I mean, they wanted to give tons of freedom, but they didn't want unlimited freedom. They wanted enough freedom to be stimulating, but with enough restraints. Here we go. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. No! Go away. Let me try that again. Open image in new tab. There we go. They wanted enough constraints that it would still foster that sense of creativity. And that has stuck with me ever since, and I believe it. I rely on it. I relied on it for my 10 years as a product designer. If you're just doing something greenfield, you're not going to be able to come with ideas very well. In my experience, you know, you may be different. All right, delete that. Okay. Work inside a box. It helps a lot. Genuinely. Yeah, like, oh man, we gotta talk about eudaimoni machines someday. It's a fascinating thing. Okay. It sounds like one of those weird conspiracy theories, like, oh, ancient civilizations had advanced technology. No, it's not. It's nothing like that. It's just fascinating insights into human psychology by early Stoic philosophers and the attempts they made to unlock the human brain. It's really cool stuff. Okay, so constraints. Constraints are key. So that's why in game jams, you always have a theme. Themes build a constraint automatically, right? 1 second. What's up, sweetie? I don't think so, sweetie, but you can go find mom if you want. Love you. All right. So theming is a big constraint. We do have our constraint. We have overload with Miller's Law, right? That's a constraint, right? Now you can start to think about data points, or overload itself might spark an idea. We've had some people in chat say they've come up with a really interesting take on that concept of overload. A lot of the times that might not be enough though. So next up, we need to start considering external restraints. For me, things that I get to thinking about are like, what is my timeline? What do I have to build? And then I have, what are my resources? Right? So how long do I have to build, and what do I have available to build? For me, I've got 9 days to build this game jam, and the resources are me and whatever game engine that I pick. In this case, it's Godot. So, which I'm still learning and I'm really bad at. So I'm seeing, holy cow, not a lot of either of these. These are both going to be pretty rough for me. Okay. Next up, what are some more constraints that I can try and funnel in? Roadmap. I've done one game jam in the past. It was eye-opening. I spent the entire 2 weeks of the Pirate Software Jam cramming in as much functionality as I could, trying to build this vision of something that I thought was going to be really, really cool. And it was really cool. And it got received very well, and the team did a really great job pulling it off. But it came at a cost, which was it wasn't polished, just in the slightest. And I swore in that moment, after seeing everyone, not everyone, but like the vast majority of comments, and including the judges, saying, hey, this was really hard to get into. I realized the UX was bad, and as a product designer of 10 years, that felt deeply insulting to myself. So I said, I'm not going to do that again. So I swore then and there that I was going to have a new roadmap for any game jam I participated in. Now, this is just going to be my roadmap. It doesn't have to be your roadmap. Once again, we've talked about the game jam theme and how polish isn't going to matter nearly as much on this game jam as other game jams. We're not looking for like a finished product here, right? We want conceptualized. We want that Miller's Law and the intentionality around it to really shine through so we can develop that language to discuss a design meaningfully and be discussing the same things together. In the book Rules of Play, they say one of the biggest handicaps for ludology right now is that there's just not a consistent language for people to use. So we're trying to help support that. Okay. So the roadmap I came up with is the first third of a project. First third is gameplay and mechanics. Are we getting this all MVP, right? This is our MVP. This is our minimum viable product. So this is boxes on a screen. Are they doing the things that we need them to do? Kind of proof of concept style. And then the second third is going to be building in usability. Tom Millman adding the hat. What's with the hat? Want another one? I do. I do want another hat. How did you know? My head was feeling too cold and light. Hold on. Let me get Cthulhu's eyes correct here. All right. There we go. Thank you, Tom, for the extra hat. I'm feeling much more clothed now. So, usability. Spend a full third trying to get to... Whoa! Where did we get taken to, whiteboard? Here we go. Second third is usability. Let me put these in bullets. There we go. So this is going to include stuff like tutorials. It's going to include refining the UI flows, all that sort of stuff. And then when we are feeling good in terms of flows and people can get into it, making sure that it is learnable and playable, then we move into the third phase, which is going to be third equals polish. This is where we start bringing in visuals, VFX, find final audio, focusing on feel, right? Focusing on feel. That's our big deal right there in that last third. So for the context of this jam, what I'm looking at is what can I build in Godot, which I don't know very well yet, completely by Wednesday. So all of a sudden, my ambitions zero in a whole bunch, right? Cthulhu explaining game design. There we go. You got it. So let's kind of think about that for a sec, right? I only have very limited time, right? I'm married. I have 2 kids, got a house. I need to make sure that all of those things are getting a time and attention. I've got dogs. I've got all sorts of business development stuff I've got to do outside of the stream. I have to line up a sponsor for our Q3 game jam, although we did get a sponsor lined up for our Q4 game jam, which I'm very excited about. More coming about that after July's game jam. It's going to be a good time. You're definitely going to want to be in on that one. We landed a big one. I don't know how it happened, but I'm very excited. It's rad. I'm very excited, but I don't have very much time. And although we're doing a very long stream today, and we're going to try to do long streams the rest of the week, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do during the week. So this is a huge constraint for me. So I now start going back to what are some things that I know I can do? What are things that I know I can do quickly? And you can see I'm not talking themes yet. I'm not talking like, oh, I want to build a fantasy dungeon crawler, even though that may be in the back of my head. I am really trying to evaluate what are the realities of this project and how do I get it loaded up in my brain correctly. So much of good, effective brainstorming is visualizing information, getting it out of your head and into a space that you can physically manipulate or digitally manipulate, somewhere you can see, so that it can actually live in your brain a little bit better. Mothman Centaur, hello, welcome in. Good to see you, friend. Good to see you. Hey, we did the whole Game Jam big theme reveal. By the way, it's Overload, Miller's Law. For those of you who are in the Discord, you got a little preview of that over the weekend. So we're diving in and talking how I come up with ideas for design, because I did a YouTube poll and to see, you know, what are the biggest troubles you have with game development. And the thing that got upvoted the most, which was really surprising to me, is coming up with ideas. So we're talking how I do that. Hopefully something in here will be helpful for other people to kind of define, oh, maybe I can try this, maybe I can try that, or none of that really works for me, but like I see what he's doing here and maybe I can come up with something that will work for me based off of that. So welcome on in, Mothman. It is great to see you. So things that I've learned I can do very quickly, just through my various little projects that I've done. Clicking and mouse movement are really quick and easy to do. Really quick and easy to do. Bitlytic, is it any interpretation of overload or specifically in relation to Miller's Law? Yeah, so it is any interpretation to it. You can, overload is the theme. The principle that we're trying to drive at is Miller's Law. So if we go down to like our judging criteria, the number one criteria, can you actually run the game? Is it going to just crash out as soon as we load it up? Then we can't judge it. But next up is theme implementation. To what extent does the game incorporate and explore the theme? So if you have a really cool take on overload, that's great. And I need to build this out a little bit more now that we're talking about it. Thank you for bringing this up, Cubus, or not Cubus, Bitlytic. And thank you for that link, Cubus, as well, though. If all you have is a unique take on the idea of overload or bring that in a clever way, that's great, but it's not necessarily what we're looking for this jam specifically. We really want to see an application of Miller's Law in some way. Either in we want some intentionality around it, right? So you can either lean in and say, I'm going to present the perfect amount of information on screen and do it in a very nice, clever way, kind of like how we were talking about how Dice Folk does it, where they have a ton of information on the screen at any one given point, but they chunk it all together, kind of like a phone number does, and you can parse all that information out, but each of these individual layers kind of adheres to Miller's Law. Or you can say, I'm going to just overload the player. We're going to present so much information. We're going to do so much that it's wildly difficult to go with it. So that's really what we're going to be looking for the kind of grand prize category. Yeah. Let me know if that didn't make any sense, because I do ramble. So basically, yeah, run wild with overload, but we are hoping to see intentionality with the design principle. Yeah. So, clicking and mouse movement are things that you can do pretty quickly and easily in game engines. I have many times lamented that I did not build Cursor Blade, because, geez, that seems like such a great idea and something you could build really quick. Of course, that's minimizing the team that worked on Cursor Blade, and there's a whole lot more that goes into it than just moving the cursor. But, in any case, random numbers. I've gotten kind of okay at this. I've done a decent amount of like spawning things in, thanks to my work on Rescue. I've done a lot of like dice related stuff, and at least in GameMaker, and I have to imagine it's the same thing here in Godot, that like making a random number is just as simple as saying like random and then within this range, and then you get a random number. So that's pretty quick. I know how to do that. Notice how we can make another category here. Things I know I can't do quickly, right? These are things for me to avoid. These are things I don't want to be doing. So things I know I can't do quickly, platforming. Although Godot may be changing that. I want to stay away from platforming like the plague, because I'm not good at building that yet. I know I can't do that very quickly. Things I know I can do quickly. I think I can do cards fairly quickly. I've had some experience building cards, and I've started to see how I can like start using data structures to build them dynamically and have that be pretty easy to iterate on. I think I can do that fairly fast. Things I know I can't do quickly, once again, are like animations. So I'm not going to have a game that is going to rely heavily on animations in order to convey information to the player, because it's just like, I don't think I'm going to be able to crank that out in 3 days, you know? And especially if those animations are going to be a key part of gameplay, like if you're doing attack patterns and you have to dodge through different attacks and stuff, that's way beyond my skill set right now. 3D modeling so slow. Hey, Merlin! Yes, jam time! Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Good to see ya. Ariel, well, now that I know there will be a critique on Wednesday, I'm going to be speedrunning a prototype now. Okay, best of luck. I'm excited to see what it is. And like I said, you don't have to bring in a prototype. It doesn't have to be fully functioning if it is a prototype, right? It can be a game design document. It could be ideas on a napkin. The important part is that we're bringing something in quickly and early to get feedback on it when it's easier to change direction. The more time you invest in a project, the harder it is to change the direction of that project, right? Bring it in early, you can change quickly. Are you going to have a things I'd like to learn list? Asks Foolbox. That's a good idea. Ameripon, do it, challenge yourself. I do want to challenge myself, but I'm at the point in my game dev journey right now that just building anything is a challenge. Especially doing it in Godot, right? Is a used napkin okay? It is totally okay. Bonus points for the most exotic food stains you can find. You gotta clarify food stains. So let's do that, Foolbox. I like that idea. Things I want to learn. So primary for me is Godot. I want to learn Godot. This is the whole purpose of me participating in this jam is I want to learn Godot. I was inspired by Progs, who we interviewed at the end of the previous Pirate Software Jam, and he made Escape the Darkness, I think it was called, that cute little game with the little crow running from the shadows and picking up candles and walking through them. And he said he did this because he wanted to learn Godot, and he learned Godot, and he felt very good about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to be inspired by you. I'm going to go do that. So I want to learn that. I would like to get a little bit better at some pixel art. I haven't really done pixel art. I'd like to dip my toe into that for this, which is another big part of why I'm really reserving this last third for polish, right? And frankly, if I can learn Godot and pixel art, that'll be pretty good. But then the last one that will be really good for me is refining my roadmap template. When I went into my last game jam, I didn't have a roadmap template. It was just kind of like, we got together with the team and said, these are a lot of cool ideas, let's go for it. And then at the end, I realized, no, I think having some sort of boilerplate expectations would be really helpful and healthy. So I want to try out this first, third, second, third thing and see how that goes. See if that gives me enough time. I hope it will. I really hope it will. I think that it will lead to a much higher quality product. But we'll see. We'll see, especially if I can pull it off just completely by myself. So I'm looking at all this and I'm seeing, okay, I want to do these things. I want to avoid these things. I'd like to get some practice in these things. I'd like to add audio to this list, but frankly, speaking realistically, I think I've got enough on my plate right now with this. Okay. So, where do we go from here? I'm going to take these things. I'm going to bring them down here. We're going to make them small. We're going to bring in the spacing so they're a little more easy to see. So we're looking for clicking, mouse movement, random numbers, doop, cards, Godot, pixel art, and refine my roadmap template. These are my guiding North Stars. This is the, like, things I want to look for. And what I'm going to start doing now is I'm going to start building out or building information into my brain by doing some brainstorming. And by brainstorming, what I really mean is something called lightning demos. This is a concept that I came across in Jake Knapp and Braden Zaratsky, I think is the name of the author. Their book Sprint. And I really love Sprint. It did a lot of really cool things. Oh, no, it's Braden Cowitz and John Zaratsky. That's what it is. Yeah. Sprint is about like developing software products and having a week-long, highly focused experimentation phase where you build a prototype after kind of getting everyone's information out on a whiteboard, and you build a prototype and you test it. And then at the end of that week, you have a lot of learnings on what works and what doesn't work. And that sounds a lot like a game jam, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Oh, hello. Hello, little one. Oh, you found your way down to the office. Welcome in. He's Batman. Yes, he is Batman. Oh my goodness. Kind of sounds like a cookie clicker to me, says Foolbox. Could be, could be. Do check out Sprite for pixel art tool with the best UX for it, in my opinion. I am planning on checking out Sprite. Unfortunately, I don't have money for it right now, and I didn't pick it up when it was on sale, which I should have. So I may be doing like Libre Sprite or Pixel Studio or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to check that out. So. Right. The thing I was referring to with Sprint is their concept of lightning demos, where everyone grabs different things that they like, that they think solve the problem, that are not necessarily related to this industry. So, for an example, I was at an agency once and I was working on a product that they were building that a client was building, and it was some sort of acidy sort of electrolyte type sort of drink to help athletes with their muscle cramps. And they had some success in that market, and they realized, well, wait a minute, I think we can probably expand this into menstrual cramping. And so they came to us looking for a website to build out a good UX website for their menstrual cramping product. And I'm curious to see how many views go down while I talk about this. And some of the lightning demos that I found for their project were like Ford Trucks' website, because they were solving a similar problem when we boiled it down to like, how do we have these very different products live in sort of the same space? And like Gillette shaving as well was another one that was like very different products, very different customers. And they even had like the men's and the women's sections and everything. And we were able to bring that all together in an interesting way. Sprite is free if you build it from GitHub. Oh, really? You can compile the full version of Sprite from the official GitHub repository. There's even a guide and tutorial on how to do it. Wow, and for non-commercial products, it's completely fine to use. Wow, that's cool. Just like Terraria, it's very worth the full price. I bet. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I don't have a paycheck coming in right now. So, so kind of every little purchase matters. Little one. I had to run to the store at the middle of the night last night to get you some more formula because we ran out. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go try and find some games that I think hit these beats. Godot, maybe not quite so much, but like, it'd be good to know if something was built in Godot to see, hey, this can be built in it. But then again, I've been burned on that in GameMaker, saying like, oh, Hyperlight Drifter was made in GameMaker. It's like, yeah, it was, but I mean, how much of it was custom built, right? So, I talked about this game already, but I'm going to grab Cursor Blade. Copy image, bring it in. We'll just shrink that up. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, got two of them. This is Cursor Blade. It's absolutely phenomenal. I haven't actually played it, though, but it looks really good on YouTube. And has been great. Cursor Blade is made in Godot? No, I have no idea what Cursor Blade was made in. I have no idea. Let me actually see if we can figure that out. Let's go to Video Game Insights and go to Cursor Blade. There we go. Developed by Real Peach. Do we have an engine? Doesn't look like it. But they've made like close to $100,000 just on Steam. That's not bad. What engine was Cursor Blade made in? I know that there's like a big troll going around Steam leaving terrible, terrible reviews on all Godot games, and I don't know how they figured that out. I don't know how they figure out what engine it's built in. All right, there you go. I don't know. I can't seem to find it out. SteamDB says GameMaker. That makes perfect sense, Cubus, if it is. Because while I was building Rescue in GameMaker, I was like, this would be so easy to build. Cursor Blade would be so easy to build in GameMaker. Like, it would be so easy to build in GameMaker. Foolbox, not bad. That's enough money to work on a game for a year. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. Can I send in the link for the Sprite install guide? Yeah, absolutely, Merlin. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So there's Cursor Blade. That's a big inspiration, right? Some other games that I think are really interesting that kind of hit these beats. We played one on the stream here. Yes. Behold Battle. Let me grab this. Hold on. Behold Battle. We played this on stream. It's literally just a guessing game. It's literally all it is. You have two options. You choose who will win. If you win, you go to the next round. If you don't, you lose a life. If you lose all your lives, you lose the game. That's the whole game. It's the entire thing. And it's pretty cool. So I'm going to bring in Behold Battle because I think that is another good showcase of like just clicking, just doing mouse movement, random numbers sort of a thing. Let's see. Brotato and Dome Keeper are Prime Godot games. Yes. Window Kill also joins in now. Oh, very cool. You know, I've seen Window Kill around, but I haven't like looked into it very much. And Cassette Beasts. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Merlin. If you have any questions, drop me a DM on Discord. Thank you so much. I'm pulling that up. Maybe we'll take a look at that during a break and we'll try and get it running today or something. So there's that. There's also let's grab some more lightning demos here. We've got oh hey guy. What's going on? What's going on? Oh, hold on. We may need to take a quick ad break because it's almost ad time anyway. But this guy might be a little bit hungies. Or maybe just a pacifier will work. We'll just get the mute button in. But we do have ads coming up anyways, so be aware. Oops. You lost it. You lost it. I think something like... what is it? Luck Be a Landlord. Luck Be a Landlord could be another decent one. If we open the store page. Hey, guy. Oh, that's a big smile. You're getting to that point where you're actually smiling now. That's very exciting. You're not just an eating pooping machine. Hi. All right, so we'll grab that image. Luck Be a Landlord, not the highest production values ever. Still works, right? All right, shrink that in. Oh, here we go. Okay. Ebal was also made in Godot. I don't know what Ebal is. What's Ebal? Ebal game. The first one that comes up is a Board Game Geek. Is it Ebal or Eyeball? I'm not getting anything. That's got to be a typo, right? Skill unlocked, smiling. There you go, Tom. Yes. That's the survival instinct kicking in. That's the please don't kill me. I know I've been keeping you awake all night for several months now. Look how cute I am. I'm worth keeping around. I'm worth the resource drain. Oh, Luck Be a Landlord. Oh, okay. Thanks, Cubus. I didn't know that was made in Godot. That's very cool. Okay. What are some other games that kind of fit this simple, like, click-based... okay, so here's another good one. Here's another good one. Let me bring this up. Wish I had a better flow for doing this. Dicey Dungeons. Dicey Dungeons would be another really good one as an inspiration. Okay. There we go. Shrink that in. Okay. And then, you know, I have another one coming to mind, which is, Dungeon Crawl? Or Dungeon Claw? Where is this? I know I have it in my... library here. Oh, weird. It's not wanting to show up. How very strange. Well, there's more than one way to do this. Dungeon Crawler. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. Dungeon Crawler. I've been kind of fascinated by this one for a while. It's a little indie game that the demo came out a little bit ago. It's in early access, coming out in Q3. So it's pretty early, but I've been seeing a couple of videos on it. I've been playing around with it on my Steam Deck. It's pretty fun and interesting. And there's something about the idea that, like, you can see all of these items are in your claw machine, and you pick them up with the claw, and that does your dungeon crawling. And there's something interesting to me about that idea of, like, all of the items in your deck coming down, right, and being present and available to you, and now it's just kind of a dexterity game. I'm really liking that concept. Buckshot Roulette. What? Buckshot Roulette. Itch on itch. Oh, and on Steam. Play Russian roulette with a 12-gauge shotgun. 2 enter, 1 leaves. Oh my goodness. Roll the dice with your life. Good luck. Wow. So this is very much like, in terms of visual sort of formatting, very similar to Inscription. Oh, we were in ads. Darn it. We're in ads. Hold on. We'll be back. I gotta take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Ha ha. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. Let's catch up on chat here for a second. This is the hardest part for me, says Robotech. What, the ideation? That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this. Persistent Meow has followed. Thank you so much for the follow, Persistent Meow. Inscription also started as a game jam, I think. And Ludum Dare. Wow, I had no idea. And Bitlytic, thank you so much for the follow as well. Thank you, Bitlytic. This is really interesting. Oh my goodness. So there you go. Buckshot Roulette. let's see what else. I want to do some sort of like match 3 game, you know, like just a match 3 game. Is there anything in here that like is standing out that I would recognize and be able to automatically conceptualize? Oh, this is like what we're looking at. Whatever. We'll just go here. This actually looks kind of interesting. I like the like different like sections, and it looks like there's like environmental obstacles and stuff. Let's definitely bring that in, because that's really interesting. So we've got our lightning jams here. We got 6. That's decent enough to start with. We may go get more if we feel we're really needing some more inspiration. But from these, I'm going to take some sticky notes. I'm going to write down what are like the main ideas, right? What are the principal ideas that I can steal? Persistent Meow, hello. Welcome on in. We are doing the design phase for my submission for our game jam. As a quick reminder, my submission will not be eligible for any of the category prizes. But, yeah, we do have a game jam. We're starting up here today, the Fox Hollow Game Jam. So welcome on in. It's very exciting to be here with you. And I also have my 1.5-month-old son. So if you hear crying, that's not just my soul weeping at my bank account. It is also my son. So we're going to okay, guy. Come here. Oh. What are the main ideas that we have here? So like the character is a cursor from Cursor Blade. Character is a cursor. We have betting. We talked a lot when we streamed Behold Battle how betting is like a really powerful mechanic. We have dexterity-based deck management, which I think is really interesting. We have random roulette for scoring, I guess. Oh, guy. What's our problem here right now? Yeah, I know. You've got really bad gas, huh? You kind of struggle. Do you want to say hi to chat? You want to say hi? Say hello. Hi. Hi. Can you say, I'm Batman? Can you say, where are the other drugs going? What do you think? Is that gonna work? Okay. All right, back to game design. Marius Works, thank you for the jam link. Good to see ya. Good to see ya, Marius Works. And then we have dice are actions from the lovely Dicey Dungeon. Dice are actions. And then we have kind of a board state of randomized elements. And then we have just clicking on those elements. Okay. Oh. Should we try the carrier? This is not working very well, is it? Hold on. Oh, there you go. Hold on, I'm going to mute while he's crying for just a second. We'll be right here. Oops. All right, here we go. These all seem to be very roguelike oriented. Nice. Yeah, I like roguelikes a lot. And in my opinion, roguelikes are going to be kind of the next RPG in terms of how RPG mechanics kind of invaded every facet of gaming. I think roguelikes are going to be the next thing to do that. I think there's just a lot of power in how they randomize things and provide reused content in the same way in new and interesting combinations that is very compelling. So it's a very cost-effective way to build a retaining experience. They already seem to be. They're definitely getting there, right? I mean, Deathloop was a big AAA roguelike, but I think we're going to be seeing even more and more and more. Desist Dawdling, I thought you were streaming later. Morning, good to see you, and so hyped for this jam. Thank you so much, Desist. Yes, I am as well. It's a special edition of the stream, very early, very long. We're going to be going like until our normal end time today, so we're going to be going for a while. Maybe that's just my bubble, says Cubus. I mean, once you start seeing like roguelike stuff in an EA game or something, you know, that's when you start knowing, okay, like the suits are starting to notice this is profitable. And that's a big deal. Okay. So these are our main concepts that we have. Let me drag our section out to be a bit bigger. These are our main... Whoa, that was too much. Our main concepts we're kind of looking at. So, what are some ways that we think we can kind of remix these, randomize them, and come up with something a little bit interesting? And looking at this, I'm kind of starting to think... a couple of different ideas. Especially when we talk about like the von Restorff effect and how powerful that's been for Balatro. Once again, von Restorff effect being about how dissimilar things draw attention if they are also in a familiar context. So Balatro is poker, but this really trippy, weird roguelike, right? If it were just some random card game and they replaced poker with their own stuff, probably wouldn't have been anywhere near as popular, to be frank. It was very memorable because of its tie to poker. I don't want a suit roguelike. I know. I hear you, but I mean, that's how you know, right? That's how you know when they're willing to start betting millions and millions of dollars on it. That's how you know. So, ideas. One thought I had was bingo. Bingo roguelike. I don't know what that would be, but it's interesting. Another thought could be having some sort of like leaning into the dexterity side of things, having a bunch of elements drop from the screen, drop click, I'll call it, where you have kind of like a Tetris screen, and you have your blocks coming down, but instead of them being blocks you sort, you have to click on the things that you want, and the different elements are like, you know, attack, defense, and it's like a dungeon crawler. Attack, defense, etc. for click targets. So instead of landing on the bottom and accumulating, they just fall straight through. So you have to manually click on things, and there could be like a timer to say this is how much time you have, click on everything that you can. I think that could be kind of interesting. Bingo. Okay. Desist Dawdling, thank you so much for continuing that sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. Desist Dawdling, you're great. Love seeing you in here. Hope you and the kiddo are amped up and ready to do some cool stuff together. Also Peglin, the Peglin Pachinko roguelike. Yes. Oh, Pachinko. That was the other thing I was thinking of. Pachinko. That could be kind of fun. Like maybe where the ball is your character, right? And maybe like the pegs are the different stats. So like you try and hit your cluster of attack stats over here that you've built out. That could be kind of fun. Nodes are stats. Okay. We've been brainstorming all weekend. I love it. I love it. That's so exciting. Okay. So we've got 3 different ideas here. I think of these, the ones that are calling the most to me, and just in terms of like, what do I actually want to build, are this drop click and this pachinko thing. I like that idea of both of them. Pachinko has a little bit more von Restorff effect, which is nice, but I'm kind of getting more excited about drop click. Weirdly enough. I think I'd have to do less work with physics, which is nice. Physics is definitely one of those things I should say I can't do very quickly. Intense physics. And I think Godot is going to make that a lot easier for me. I just don't want to take that risk and betting an entire project on it, right? Although, you know, once again, game jams are a time to be risky and to do weird, wacky, crazy stuff. I feel like I'm already doing enough weird, wacky, crazy stuff and learning Godot. So I think for me, that leaves Drop Click as our winner. Da-da-da-da!